All right. Hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to VRIT Labs, the session. Today is the date, May 19th, Sunday morning, 11 past 8 PST. Again, thanks for joining in such short notice. I've been thinking this for a long time, and you know this, right? I've been preparing this. Whenever we talk, I usually take some notes. When I talk, generally there are a lot of good terminology that we use based on my past, several years of experience working in SAP project management, and people's behavior, professional coaching, everything I put together. I Some of those I missed because when I think I may not be next to my laptop, so I may not have recorded some of them. But this is just continuing document, which I will continue to work on it. Continue to keep updating this. So this is just part A, okay, and more to come. So like I said, I'm recording this as well. So let's do this, okay? SAP Terminologies. There's something called a bend. So people say, for example, so you see my screen, right? So I'll try to give an example here. The job abandoned means the background job canceled, okay, or failed, okay. In SM37, the job status will show in red. Okay, so this is the kind of exercise I'm going to do it. So abandon, what is abandon, right? Usually job gets abandoned and canceled. For example, the background job abandoned. Abandoned means the background job canceled or failed. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Hey, Naveen, Chandan, did you join too? So this format is okay. Can somebody answer what I'm doing and this is okay?
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay, great. The next one is basis. What is basis? So you probably would know it by now, right? SAP basis. Basis is an infrastructure team in SAP, which takes care of networking, server maintenance, right? Server installation and maintenance. Server and maintenance. Okay, so they like different models in SAP. Like SAP FICO, there's a SAP basis team. Okay, who takes care of all your server maintenance. Let's say server is down, for example. Again, I'm giving an example. The server is down, right? So let's say the GUI is not working. So usually people reach out to this basis team. Right, Ravi?
Yes, Jay.
Yes. Great. Next one, PIPO. What is PIPO? It is used to be called XI, which is Exchange Infrastructure, back in the day, very late, until 2012, I think. But now it changed to or called by process integration or process orchestration. This module is used to design interfaces, flat file exchanges, data conversion by bypass, IDOC replication, all the good stuff. So PAPO is another model in SAP. Okay, it is another technical module in SAP, which is used for designing interfaces. Okay, for example, the bank statement comes to SAP, right? And then from SAP, the bank statement goes out. Who does this? Okay, who does this, right? All this are done by what do you call that? In process integration. So you work with a team. Okay, usually there's a team. there'll be a technical team responsible for this. Okay, so they usually know a little bit of ABAP coding. It is also mostly drag and drop configuration. Okay, so that's called PIPO. Okay, so if you look at it, SAP, when they built SAP, earlier back in the day, when you have to create a program, it's all a lot of codings, right? When you talk about the IBM mainframe AS400 systems, there's a lot of codings involved, right? If you go to still the old system, there's a blue screen. Have you seen blue screens? I hate those blue screens, right? They're usually IBM mainframes or AS400 systems or COBOL running in different old programs. There's a lot of heavy programs. Then when the technology get advanced, they try to give something very user friendly. They said you don't have to do all this coding. Just take the software, open it, and work on it. If you want to do some changes, go and configure it instead of doing a coding, right? So coding is expensive, and it's also needs a lot of maintenance, right? Correct. Let's say you buy a car and you have to build your own steering wheel. It's going to be difficult, right? It is not probably very efficient. It will break down, right? When you build your own steering wheel. But the car comes as a steering wheel, and you can adjust. You can tilt it. You can tilt the steering wheel. Right? You can tilt it. You can move it. You can do a lot of things. So that's called configuration, right? So you go and order a car. They said what configuration you want, right? I want GPS. I want this button here. I want the dashboard. I want the backup camera. I want Bluetooth enabled video, audio. I want video panels in my back seat, right? I want to fold, the cup holders here and there. This is a configuration, right? So let's say if you don't have configuration, every time you go and order something, the people have to make something. Okay, that's called customization, right? Let's say they go and create one new GPS and try to put it there. It is not going to be efficient. So configuration is standardized, right? So they can just bring in and put it in. Similarly, SAP. So they built SAP, say that, okay, we are just going to give everything, whatever you want, just configure it. Create a house bank, check box, radio button, right? All this check boxes, very simple. Okay, similarly, with this concept, except ABAP, even ABAP also, they have a lot of function models. You can import and start using it. Okay, of course, there's a coding required, but they also have a lot of function models that you can just, today coding is like Python. People rave about Python. Why? It's simple to use, right? Because it's a universal. They use kind of universal language. No more coding. You can just talk to like you're talking to your friend, right? Go and get this. Python will understand, right? Anyways, similarly, that's what it is. So even the PAPO is also mostly configurable. Okay, the file comes here. Where is the path? Put the path. What do you need to do with the file? Does it have a header? Yes. Does it have a line item? How many rows it can have? How is it separated by? All this by coding. Got the point? It doesn't need a coding. Get the point?
Yes.
Got it. The next is BAI to BAI 12.2 format. Okay, this is a bank statement file format used only in US. Okay, so BAI2 is cheaper for companies as it has only limited information. Okay, whereas BAI2 will have additional information, right? which means a little larger file and cost a little more to the companies. So banks will send the bank statement to the companies, right? So I have a bank account, then they send the bank statement, electronic bank statement. When the electronic is sent, this is a file format. Okay, let's put electronic bank statement. So these are just introduction. Okay, what I'm saying is at least now, then you can Google it. BIB2, if you know this, there's a lot of formatting. There's a lot of examples in Google. Okay, you can just get it started. Okay, this is very interesting because this is real time, and this gives you more it will open your eyes, right? What's happening in real time. If you just go and if you do not know what the tiger looks like, even if you Google it, you will not get it, right? Now I'm just trying to tell you what the tiger looks like, right? Does it have legs? Yes. Tails and stripes, and what color usually it is, and things like that. Right. So Swift 940, on the other hand, is usually used in European format. Okay, bank statement file format, but used in Europe. Okay, if it's a European company, they usually use Swift 940, and you know why, right? The US always wants to stay separate. They have to have their own standards, right? When the US, they built, after pre-independence, after the independence, they try to change everything because they know US know they're going to grow big because of the opportunities here, right? So before the World War itself, or during that World War, they changed everything because they were, buying a lot of supplies, creating weapons, and the cars they started manufacturing. They said, no, we're not going to adapt British standard. We're going to create our own standards. They created gallons. They created miles. They created foot and inches, right? Whereas if you go other places, there's a different. They said, okay, we're not going to try right side. We're going to try left side of the road, right? They changed everything. They created their own games, right? Like NFL, NBA, no other country plays, right? Only they play. Any group sports, if you take a group sport, they never play outside, right? They go to Olympics and play individual sports and get all the medals, but group sports, they never play outside. They always play within themselves, right? NBA, NFL, hockey, NHL, and all this stuff. And they call themselves world champion, right? I was just thinking one other example yesterday was why US use, that's one thing really hammered my head. Something I was going for shopping yesterday. US have a specific, what else, right? And why did they do this? Yeah, pounds, for example, right? Every kilograms, they use pounds, and they use ounces. It's confusing. They have ounces for everything, right? The liquid, solid, everything in ounces. I went to buy a boxing glove. They said, how many ounces? Boxing gloves could be ounces. I was so confused. Okay, that's about the formatting. So there's a blog I mentioned here. You can search it. I'm not sharing this, by the way, okay? This document. But it's recorded, though. Is it recording? Yes, it's recording. Okay. Then spool. What is a spool, right? Is it Rahul?
Yes, Jay. Good morning.
Hey, Rahul, how are you, man? Thanks for joining.
Good, Jay. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. So I'm actually driving, so join. I'm not using. I'm joining the phone.
Okay, whoever's driving, be safe. This is not more important than what you're doing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, join the call only if it's safe to do so. Okay, so another
Hello?
thing, you join the call only if it is safe to do so, I'm saying.
No, it's safe. It's safe. I'm just driving, so it's safe.
Okay, got it. Yeah, pay attention to the road. We work in a corporate culture. This is a big thing. Okay, people don't allow you when you call into a meeting. If they say driving, they say hang up. Okay, and especially in this last several years, there's a lot of accidents happens when people the mobile technology is advancing, right? So people started doing everything from in the car, right? So they also make calls. In my previous company, they made a strict rule: when you're driving, even if you're late to the meeting, whatever it is, do not even call from the car.
Yes, this was communicated to us also in the office.
Yes, that's it.
It's fine. You're not getting the meeting. It's fine, but don't join the call while driving.
Exactly, because it distracts, right? I'm expecting an answer from you when you're driving. We don't know what is there, right? Maybe there'll be a truck next to you, or somebody's honking in the back of you. I don't want to ask you a question, or I don't want you to pay attention to something else when you're driving. So it's not a good idea. It's a serious. Another thing is when you call into the meeting, you are actually working. Okay, when you call into a meeting, you're actually working. And then if something goes wrong, the company is liable. You can sue the company, right? You meet with an accident, and the forensic would come and say, "He was on the call with who? With the boss." It might be recorded, right? Boss might be yelling at you,
Yeah.
asking you some tough questions, right? He gave up his steering wheel and hit hit the tree or something. So it's a very serious offense. It's a liability. Okay. Right. Okay. Good. Spool. Next one is spool. What is a spool? So it's a temporary place where your files are stored before printing. Okay. I don't intend to do this more than an hour. We'll try to wrap this up by 9 o'clock. My time. Spool. Temporary place where your files are stored before printing. So if you print a job, if you print it, okay? If you print it.
What was the first terminology, Jay? What was the first one? I missed some of the session.
Append.
Append. Okay.
Job appended. Yeah, you'll watch the video, okay?
Okay.
Spool, temporary place where your files are stored before. If you print a paper, you print a document from SAP, okay? It does not from SAP. It does not directly goes to the printer. Okay. It usually goes to the spool from where you can download your file, right? You don't need to, nobody prints these days, right? Everybody's sharing just by file. You can download your flat file, download it into your file. So nobody wants to print. What do you do with the printer? If you print it, what do? You can still have to scan it, right? So SAP as a default option, you can print. So always use default printer. You know, right? What is default printer? LP01. Okay.
Yes.
Not print. If there's no printer setup, don't choose a printer. Just use LP01. This will not print at all. Okay. Right. So otherwise, because you run a report, it could be 100 pages, 200 pages, right? A couple of weeks back, Anand was in my office, and I was telling him to compare two different chart of accounts. He could have easily downloaded the file and into Excel and compared this. That's what I was expecting you to do, expecting somebody to do this, right? But he printed this. He thought he could just put all the papers on the table and compare one by one. And it came to my printer and used all he printed like 40 pages. I mean, I'm a small, right? I don't have industrial machine, so it used up all my machine. I'm just saying, even in big companies, if you do this, it will print like 300, 400 pages. So don't do this. Screen variant. So screen variant, right? Contains parameters for a selection screen, which is basically when you run a program. By now right? When you run a program, any program, there's a screen variant button. You can select a variant so that you don't have to come and put the selection screen again and again, right? Maybe I can share. I think you should probably know this. It's not a very complicated. Yeah, I'm trying to log into SAP. So if you run any program, let's say F.13, for example, which is automatic clearing program, right? So if you want to run this program, you don't have to put the parameters again and again. You can save this as a variant, right? This is called variant. You save this as a variant, and then you can do, I don't think it was a variant, but you can use others variant as well and save it in your name so that when you come back next time, all these parameters is pre-populated. I mean, you can just get from, it's all populated. Then you save it. That's called screen variant. Okay. Right. Validate. What is validate? You probably heard this quite a few times in validate, fixed asset postings, and also bank postings. So validate is actually when you actually send a payment to the bank. Okay. When you actually send a payment to the bank, you are not losing the cash until the vendor encashes the check, right? Until that point of time, the bank, you must still have the money. Great. How do you know when the money will go out of the bank? That's something called you could usually validate. Even if you send a payment today for any cash postings, anything relevant to cash management, that's also validate, which says that when you think potentially the money will go out of the bank. Okay, you can reset this for 2-3 days, 3-4 days from the posting date, or you can, obviously, and you can also override whenever you make a posting. You can go and say this is my value date. Okay, so that's for the then when the cash management, when you run a cash management posting, when you run a cash, you want to know how much fund you have. You run this by value date, not by posting date. Makes sense? There's a difference between value date and posting date. Posting date to record the transaction in the accounting today. Value date is when the actual cash effect will take place. Make sense? Do you understand? Anybody has a question?
No, sir.
All right. Similarly, fixed assets. Fixed assets also has a value date. Why? Fixed assets also has a value date because when you buy fixed asset, okay, when would you start depreciating? That's very important, right? So, the capitalization date is important, which I think I covered somewhere here. Capitalization date, maybe not. Let's search. Yes, huge. It's a lot of things. Yeah, so when the fixed asset will start depreciating, that's the capitalization date. The value date is used for fixed asset posting, reference from when you wanted to record the value, when you wanted to report, your fixed assets. Again, all these are just giving, these are terminologies always being used when you walk into a company running a project. Be familiar yourself, and at least now we know these are the words. Just Google more and more. Okay, right. Financial statement versions. So a company can have several financial statement versions, right? So what does it mean? Financial statement versions basically, let's say you have a profit and loss statement or trial balance, right? In a financial statement versions, you know what's a trial balance? Trial balance is just a balance of all the GL accounts that you can have, right? It says this is all the GL accounts you posted. Let's take balance sheet. Balance sheet will show that these are your liabilities, these are a fixed asset, these are, blah, 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 right? But financial statement version basically populates them in the right notes, right? Tells them, okay, this is my group of current assets, then followed by fixed assets, followed by, minus depreciation, accumulated depreciation. How do you structure this in the reporting, right? That's called financial statement version. So, and why? For example, there's IFRS, there's a lot of different standards, IFRS, US GAAP, and, AC 6061, revenue recognition, a lot of things. So they say, you cannot recognize this as a revenue. You can recognize this as a revenue or not. So which one you can recognize as revenue, which GL account can go here, which GL account cannot go there, a lot of things. Okay. So the financial statement version, usually, consultants like you guys will create it. You put them into notes saying that, okay, all the GL accounts will part of my cost of goods sold. All these GL accounts will be part of my cost of goods manufactured as per some version, right? US GAAP might say, no, revenue cannot be recognized. IFRS say, no, revenue could, this cannot be recognized. So based on each accounting principle, okay, you basically, you create several accounting financial statement versions. Make sense? Okay, next is COGS. What is COGS? Cost of goods sold, okay? Next is cost of goods manufactured. Okay. So cost of goods manufactured contains in the cost of goods sold. Okay, sold is until your your inventory leaves your premises. That's called cost of goods sold. Everything that happens, everything that you do in order for the goods to leave your warehouse. That includes your promotion, advertising, right? Otherwise, the goods will not leave. Right? That's the cost of goods sold, which means until the guy gets your goods, not the reach, until the customer gets the goods, which includes the freight, truck, delivery, distribution, everything. Right? The cost of goods sold. Cost of goods manufactured is right from the factory when the goods leave the factory premises. Right? What happens once you manufacture? They go to warehouse. distribution centers, correct? From the factory, when they leave, what happens? All the direct goods and indirect materials, indirect cost, right? The 3Ms, right? What do you call 3M? Material, manpower, and machine, right? This is 3M. They need direct cost goes to them. They have indirect costs, so overheads. They have indirect costs, which is all the overheads. They also go into this part of the manufacturing cost. So it's called COGS. And in product cost accounting, they have a lot of configuration and business process to get them. Oh, this is a very important concept. SOD. Okay, very, very important. SOD. They call it SOD. Segregation of duties. Anybody know segregation of duties? Okay, it is a compliance term, regulatory term used by security, roles, professional to, what segregate, right? Segregate user roles. You know what's called segregate? Segregate means separate. Segregate means separate, right? So when in AP clerks join a company, okay, they will segregate her duties, separate her duties from GL functions. Okay, AP clerk is not allowed to AR functions. Make sense? Fixed asset manager is not allowed to post MIRO. Okay, or your product owner is not allowed issue a purchase order. You know why? Do you know why I'm doing this? In SAP, it general terms, not SAP. It's SOD, they call it SOD. It's a big world in SAP. They do a lot of the KPMG. The guys will come and check all your systems and say, okay, what is going wrong and why? Because in simple terms, okay, a preparer cannot be a reviewer, and a reviewer or preparer cannot be approver. It's very simple. Okay, there's something called, in a company, there's a lot of approval process happens, right? When I create a purchase order, right, I cannot issue the purchase order to the vendor. I have to get an approval. I'm a preparer. Okay, it has to go through reviewer. Somebody has to review it. Okay, and somebody has to approve it. Okay, let's say I am the preparer. I'm also the reviewer. I'm also the approver. There's a problem, right? And I can issue a PO to my uncle and procure goods for, instead of $10 each, I could buy, $15 each. Okay, so that's why the segregation of the duties are important, because they said, okay, if you are a preparer, you can only have role to create a PO. Okay, you can create a purchase order, ME21 transaction code, they will be assigned to this user. But approver, the PO release, something called PO release, cannot be given to the preparer. It can be only given to the approver, who is usually his manager. Make sense? Okay, there's something called responsibility matrix. I think we talked about this for people who are in Tahunga session. And can anybody tell me who was the responsibility matrix? Okay, responsibility matrix, right? In a project organization. A project organization, it is a matrix of who is responsible for what. For example, who is responsible? Who is accountable? Responsible. Accountable. Who needs to be informed? Who needs to be consulted? Okay, for if you're starting something, always think it, even if you solve a ticket. Okay, communication is very important. This by now you all know SAP is not coding. You cannot take this small thing and work with somebody and get on the job support from offshores, send it to this guy, he can make it for you. Okay, so everything in a large scale, you have to think in a large scale. People are professionals you're working with, right? They expect high level of standards and deliverables from you. Okay, you get some VRIT, nobody teaches you all this stuff today. In this entire SAP consulting training company, nobody teaches this in the world. So when you create anything, you have to show who is responsible for this, who is accountable for this, who needs to be informed, who needs to be consulted. Always think about this. So it helps you, right, in keeping everyone in the communication. Great. All right, next one is vendor invoice management. Okay, so you can Google this. So some of you already know, you guys are working on it. It's a third party application like Ariba, Dolphin. I think something else. Like there's a lot of stuff. I think Sublix or whatever it is. Okay, which manages the procurement process and updates in case to reduce to streamline. Okay, Google it. Okay, great. OCR, optical character recognition. So this is technology, OCR, to read the invoices, scanned images. Okay, for example, paper invoices too. Okay, and get information, send it to SAP or posting transaction. For example, vendor send an invoice. Okay, OCR, if you scan the invoice, okay, the OCR will read, okay, which vendor is sending an invoice, what's the purchase order number, what's the quantity, it reads everything. Okay, it does an algorithm, reads and creates a file and posts a Miro into SAP. Got it? That's called OCR. Batch input. This is used in batch processing. Okay, SM35. Okay, go to SM35 and see some of the sessions. Okay, some programs are designed to create batch processing in the background. Okay, okay, cookie cutter. What's called cookie cutter? This is commonly used American term in anywhere. Cookie cutter means something. It's a template. It's a template. They said when they're implementing something, could be anything, right? Do you have a cookie cutter? Means they're asking for a like a template or a KT document, so that they just take exactly the KT document and do the same way. They don't have to, the cookie cutters, right? They come in, you just press it against the dough and it makes the shape, right? Different shapes, right? So which makes things very easier. Otherwise, you have to take your carving knife and can you cut it up? Can you design it? Can you carve it? You cannot get the right heart shape or Mickey Mouse shape, whatever it is. So they sell cookie cutters and you can take them and just press against the dough, flat dough, and it makes a perfect cookie in the shape of whatever you want to have. So that's exactly in Americans, they say, we don't have a cookie cutter for this. Okay, we have to create something new, which means we don't have a KT document. We have not done this before. Okay, so this is all we have to create new. Wow. So I'm really doing very well. Okay, add meat to the bone. This is another, typically another American, corporate language. Add meat to the bone means add more substance, right? Content. content. You know what I'm saying, right? So add more meat to the bone means maybe add more substance or add more resources. Could be anything. Okay. So what do they do? For example, the project is going and they're struggling with the project, and then CFO or CA will call the project and say, okay, I think we need to add more meat to the bone, which means when the project is struggling, we need to add more resources or more budgets, more quality checks, or we have to add more communication strategy. Okay, all that. That's called add meat to the bone. This next one, muddy up. Muddy up, we should know, right? Muddy up means make things work. Okay, they said don't muddy up the situation means let's not do anything. Don't muddy up the situation. Okay, which mud, what's called mud, right? Mud is not clear. Okay. And similarly, they said, right, as clear as mud, for example. They said, if you don't understand, as clear as mud. Do you understand? Sorry, as mud. This is also another, the language they use. Some people say, do you understand? Yeah, as clear as mud means they don't understand anything, right? Mixed bag, you probably know this, right? Mixed bag is, it's mixed files, right? Mixed formats and mixed, tasks, similar thing. Okay, so mixed bag. If you buy we go to Trader Joe and buy apple, buy varieties of apple, put in the same bag, right? So mixed bag. Escalations, you probably know now. Escalations is reaching to the next level of communication or responsibility to expedite issue to be resolved instantly, immediately. Okay? Escalations. Service level agreement, all the Indian companies, offshore companies have the service level agreement. They're called SLA. Now we know what's called SLA. Okay. And update run, production run. You probably know when you run a program, there's always update run and production run. And update run just update run, production the same, or test run. And you know this, right? Update run, production is the same, or test run. Synchronize, track, monitor. This is usually used in maintaining, monitor, like it's usually for bad job monitoring, bad job or trade-off monitoring. Okay. Root cause mindset. This is a very the compliance and continuous improvement language. Okay, this is very important. I mean, my consultants and from VRIT, you should always have a root cause mindset. I don't care, how you fix it, but we have to fix the root cause. Okay. Okay. We always have to think about root cause. Okay. Let's say, I have several times, right? I worked with the offshore guys. When there's something doesn't happen, right? They said, okay, we have to change the configuration. That's very irritating. Okay, that's exactly what I would say. The offshore guys would send an email to the user directly. We check the configuration. There's a check button which is missing. What the user would think, right? She wants to know why this is not working now. All this is root cause mindset. Okay, we are not a plumber, right? Just go and fix the plumber. We have to know why there is a hole in the tank. Correct? Got my point? That's very important. Okay, if there's a pinhole in the tank, you should know how this happened. You can fix it, but before that, you should tell why this happened. If you don't know why something happens, it always happen again, right? Mitigation is before resolving something, put a temporary workaround. Okay. Great. Then follow up. Excuse me. Follow up, what follow up, right? Resolution, what's resolution. Defect issue resolution, they're the same. I'm just wanting the same thing. RFC is called, what's RFC? Remote function call used or set up by basis team to connect to an external third-party application like Vertex. Okay, good. Okay, BAPI, BADI. These are commonly used by technical and functional. I have another meeting in 30 minutes. Technical and functional consultants. These are common. BAPI stands for Business Application Programming something something. BADI stands for Business Application Development something something, which I don't know. These are commonly used. These are commonly used by. So logical structure versus transparent table. Okay, Google it again. SA16. So transparent table. I think we did a lot of topics on this, and I'm sure you know this. Transparent table can be queried. Logical or not. Here's a group of fields derived from many tables. Okay. Okay, you know FYI, right? For information. AP disbursements, you know what disbursements, right? Disbursement means payout, right? Payout to the vendor, right? You have any listening?
Yeah.
Okay. EDI, DME, EDI stands for electronic data interchange. Okay. And DME stands for data medium interchange. Okay. Again, this session is try to give you an introduction of some other things that you regularly use. So we have to go. There's a lot of ground to cover. Okay, we'll just quickly go through. And then tickets and incidents versus request. You know, tickets, incident versus request, right? Incidents means production break. Something means something is not working or stopped working. Okay, so basically your plumbing line is broken. Somebody has to fix it. Okay. Incident means. Request means, okay, you're bringing a plumber to check if everything's okay. That's a request. There's nothing wrong. Everything's working fine. Additionally, you're requesting, okay, can you put a wall there? Can you put a joint there? Can you put a clamp there? That's a request. Okay. Request means asking in advance to make some changes. Got it? So ticket based versus non-ticket based activities, you probably know this. And ECCHP, the story of Suit and Hannah, story of Suit and Hannah. All this Google it, but I explained this in the session, all this stuff. Data online versus offline. Okay. What is data online versus data offline? And you know what is the end-to-end scenarios, right? They call it E2E. E2E, right? E2E cycle. For example, P2P. P2P, OTC, what's a P? QTP. It's become QTP now. Quotation to procure. OTC also become QTC. Then plan to produce. P2P. And what is hire to retire? Okay, H2R. These are end-to-end cycle. Oh, I already have them here. Okay. Aging report. This is a statement of accounts with the due date. Okay, aging report. So this is also important because when it's sent to the customer did not pay for a long time, you send the aging report. Then you have the paying company code, sending company code concept in automatic payment program. And there's something called ship to, sold to, bill to. I think I gave an example several times, ship to, sold to, bill to. These are trading partner functions. For a customer. Okay, ship to, sold to, bill to. These are trading partner functions for a customer. When you maintain a customer, your customer, when you're selling goods, right? Who is going to pay for your services, and who is going to use the services, and who is going to whom you're going to ship the services, right? That's very important. And there's a SEPA, probably know SEPA, gyro payment methods. SEPA is used in Europe as a single some universal payment method used in Europe after the Euro Union was formed, I think several years ago. Adapters and poolings. This is usually used in PIPO. Okay, adapters means means like a port. Okay, means a port. How the external application will connect to SAP. Okay, when you say, hey, send the file to SAP, okay, the SAP has to have some opening, right? If you throw the file, that's called adapters. Then they come in adapt. They'll connect to SAP. Okay, polling means the system constantly scans a particular folder for any file movement. So what happens was there's some flat file interfaces, right? When the file comes to a folder, the program will pick it up. How would you know the file is there or not? That's called polling. The program constantly scans a particular folder. If there's any file comes, it automatically picks a file. Fiori tiles, again, this is a S4HANA concept. Please Google it, where a specific function could be performed using this tile instead of using transaction code. Instead of launching transaction codes and inputting the parameters. So they look like window tiles. So day in the life, they call it day in the life again. It's another term they use. For example, when they implement SAP, anything, right? They said test. When they test, they said day in the life, because they just do everything like normally they do and make sure nothing impacts. Okay, when they anything, right? That's called day in the life. When they're acquiring a company, they're doing integration project. When they do lots of testing, integration testing, regression testing, quality testing, all this stuff. Something they call day in the life means, okay, you're doing everything, not just specific to what changes we did. We're just going to run the entire operation. Okay, we're going to buy ST, everything going to run and make sure there are no impact. Day in the life. Single sign-on, you probably know SSO. They call it SSO. Single sign-on means if you join a company, you just sign in and it takes it everywhere. You just log into your Windows network. It gives you access to your portal, web portal, company portal, your HR portal, everything. That's called single sign-on. And blue collar is a white collar costing. I think we already discussed this. Anybody need some help on the blue collar and white collar costing?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me just explain. So blue collar is a white collar costing. White collar costing is, who wears white collar, right? All the corporate workers, your managers, right? HR directors and all these people. It's a concept, right? In the back in the day, during the World War time, blue collar workers go to mining industry and work, right? That's called a blue collar. They call it dongre, or they overall they wear this. White collars, people go to office and work. That's called blue collars, white collars. So blue collar is basically a direct labor. Okay. Labor. Okay. Labor cost, wages. White collar cost is salary and benefits. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
So AUC, asset under construction. AUC stands for assets under construction, used in asset under construction. investment measure. So AUC stands for assets under construction. When you're building an asset, you procure a lot of stuff. Okay, you procure a lot of stuff, and then you use this for asset under construction. So BW feed, they call it feed. What's called feed? The data being sent over to BW. Data to BW. They call it feed. Okay. They're feeding the data into BW. That's called feed, right? You're feeding a baby, right? You're feeding into the machine. Okay. That's called feeding. A golden client, also Google it. When a golden client means, usually they call it production or a template client where the configurations are just stored. With high security access, with security, okay? So that nobody will screw up. They call it golden client. There's something called client dependent and client independent, okay? For example, in now in document types. When you create document types, right? They're applicable for all the company codes. So they are not client dependent. You're not assigned to company code, right? Chart of accounts, on the other hand, are client dependent. Sorry, because you assign them to company codes. Very simple. If anything assigned to company codes, only that company code can use. Okay. So company codes can use. So that's a client. This is client independent. Make sense? This will come across often. You know, this is client dependent data, client independent data, because when you touch a client independent data, it's going to affect all the company codes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Standard routine is is a step-by-step process to execute something. Okay, step-by-step process. For example, testing document. Garnishment. I think you know what's garnishment. HR used in HR, where some part of the salary will be sent directly to the government as a part of the alimony process. It's alimony, right? Part of alimony process. So Google it, okay? Amortization, you know what is amortization, right? Paying back over a period of time. Paying back over a period of time. Calculating on the fly versus available on the table. This is very interesting. Calculated on the fly versus available on the table. This is fancy to use. This is a very fancy word that you can use. Basically, when you're developing a report, the report could fetch all the data that from the table, okay, or it can process the data and develop in the report, right? That's called calculated on the fly. Means when the program is working, it also does some calculation. That's called calculated on the fly. Most of in the table they have raw data, right? SAP is a transaction system, not analytical system. It doesn't do any calculation, right? Right? Does not have any calculation. So okay, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, where are we now? Okay, I'm calculating hierarchies. in hierarchies, we know this, right? It's like a structure, okay? Like this, yeah. It's really like a structure, okay? Or customer, product, everything, okay? Reporting notes. And reporting notes, again, always Google it. We saw the financial statement versions, okay? And they use the word scratch the surface means just take a look, which means scratch the surface. Scratch the surface means just getting into, just take a look at the problem. Okay, not very deep. Scratch the surface. Okay, just take a look at the problem at a high level. Reactive versus proactive, and you know what's reactive, right? So reactive is performing something, fixing something when a problem occurred, when a problem already occurred. So proactive means thinking in advance, okay? And when I think and when trying to prevent the issue, okay? And I think I told you before, right? In the US, people would not say I have a problem, right? People say I have an issue. They never say I have a problem, right? And you know why? Because in the US, people would never say I have a problem, because that's why US is so, everything very efficient, because they try to foresee an issue, and they try to foresee a problem and resolve now. Okay, that's why in the US is the level of efficiency. All the B school, all the big schools, business schools are in the US, because the way they think, the way they teach is different. They can spend a lot of hours talking about something that could happen or could not happen next year. So proactive, right? That's called proactive. So all this thing they do is very proactive. That's why a lot of they said spend so much time in the meeting before you touch the system. Hey, let's call into the meeting. They ask so many questions. Very proactive. Reactive means once the system fail, that's a big difference between working with I mean, obviously Indians. I'm just saying we are very reactive generally. Okay, I don't know. That's a mindset. So what's called Uncle Sam is called federal, right? They call it Uncle Sam. CapEx versus OpEx. What's called CapEx versus OpEx? Capital expenditure versus operational expenditure. They usually use this word. Okay, Google them, please. Recover, recoup, this responsible, accountable, informed. This is part of the, we covered this in the responsible matrix. Accruals and deferrals, what are those? Accruals is basically before you actually make a payment. Before you make a payment, you accrue. Even you don't make a payment, but you accrue. Deferrals means even though it's just opposite of accruals. Okay, you accrue now, even though you don't make a payment. Okay, you start accruing. Accruals. Deferrals is I'm not getting a good example. You can Google it, find out. Feasibility studies, what's called feasibility studies. Before you venture out any program, before you try to launch a program, launch a project, feasibility studies. Is it possible? Okay, that's very important. Okay, all this thing at the consultant level, probably not, but this are very important in a corporate environment. These are the things managers expect you to know. If you want to be very successful, want to talk to like high level executives, these are the things you should know. Okay, that's what I'm exactly. These are my experience. These are like all my collective knowledge and experiences. You should stand up and say, who did the feasibility studies? Okay, you're not employed to, like, you're not a plumber. Think about it, you're just not a plumber. Okay, go and fix this. Okay, you're coming here to fix the whole problem. Okay, think proactively. Okay, legacy systems applications, you probably know this. Okay, and the decommissioned. Can we just continue? Can you continue, or we just maybe do a second session sometime later? Hello.
Yeah. If you have time, then we can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Mhm.
So decommission, right? Decommission means a system that was put off. Okay, not running anymore. Okay. So, example, that interface was decommissioned. Okay, we used to have an interface from Oracle to SAP. Now Oracle is migrated to SAP, so we didn't need the interface. We don't need to send any data to Oracle. That interface was decommissioned. You know what historical data, right? Transactional data for the last several periods or years, whatever it is, fiscal years or week, whatever it is, transaction data, past. Okay, it's always past. Transaction data, past data, transaction fiscal past. Consolidation, you know what's for consolidation, right? It's called grouping of accounts and the amount to report at the group company code level. Consolidate. Example, consolidated statement of accounts. Okay? Standalone system. Okay, anybody know what's a standalone system? So standalone system is basically it's not connected to any other system.
Yeah.
It just functions for a specific purpose. Alrighty. Okay. Town hall meeting. Again, town hall meeting is usually conducted or called by the CEO for all the employees, and communicate the company's strategy, growth opportunities, hungry, and so on. Next opportunities, result announcement, etc. Great. An all hands meeting is usually, it's a term used to refer to a meeting where both managers, executives, and also the employees can join. Okay, that's important. All hands. ISIT cause you probably know this, right? What is ISIT? Information services and information technology cost, which is all your ISIT salary, tech worker salary, and software cost, software and hardware cost, renewal cost, whatever it is, right? The rental or the lease, the occupy, etc. Functionality. Functional area is basically, in a company there are several functions, right? For example, let's quickly go. It is used for reporting of specific cost related to a function. For example, production. Functional area, marketing functional area. What else? Okay, ISIT functional area. So they can assign the cost whenever they have cost incurred, so they know where the cost goes to. So chopping block is, what's a chopping block, right? You cut onions, you cut vegetables, there's a block, that's chopping board, right? Or chopping board or chopping block. Okay, usually it's for cutting. It's referred for cutting the cost. It's referred for retrenching, firing workers. Okay. Go live hypercare support. You probably know this. Go live means system going live, and there is a support for next 30 days. There's a high levels. There's a intensive support, which is like a hypercare means they are an ICU, for example. Okay, the system went live. They have intensive support. It's called hypercare. Hyper means like over attentive. Okay, over attentive. Over attentive. Okay, so realization phase cutover. How many pages are there? Okay, we can just quickly go through. Okay, there's something called realization cutover. Cutover is important concept. So realization is the configuration phase. Okay, cutover is when you bring the configuration data, transactional data into production. Okay, into your production, which is production, a system that is up and running, right? So production system is always running. It's a golden client, right? They have all the transaction going through. You cannot just implement something directly, right? You can't directly implement, right? Sorry. So that's called intensive support. Okay. Great. Sorry. What do you call? I am now. My mind is. I'm hungry. Yeah, cutover is when you bring the configuration data, transaction data to production, because the production is up and running, right? You cannot just, okay, let's implement SAP, let's implement these changes, let's implement the bank account. You can't do this, right? So you have to make sure, you have to fix a time, you have to, there's a cutover is a big thing. Cutover, there's a cutover manager, okay? His work is only to take care of, nothing goes into the production before we actually do all this, okay? And the transaction data, when you bring in the transaction data, okay, from which period you want to bring it, what cost center they got to be posted, because you're bringing the data from outside system. SAP may not recognize it. All this you have to go through. There's a lot of cutovers, a big task. They're usually a big project. They have cutover manager, change manager, that is a release manager. Their only job is to make sure when the cutover, what exactly steps you're going to follow. Okay, when are you bringing the data? That happens usually overnight. Cutover happens usually overnight because system is all, nobody's using the system. The impact is less. Okay, and keep the lights on. What's the keep the lights on? For example, this is any project management term. Keep the lights on means the system is not used, but they still want to keep it for record retention purposes, right? For example, you moved, for example, an Oracle system was migrated to SAP, all the transaction data. Okay, but you cannot decommission the Oracle system because they have a historical data, transaction data. They have a lot of master data, this and that, right? For reference purposes, you want to keep it so that tomorrow you're not bringing all the data into SAP, so you can always go back and check. And I have IRS, okay, IRS, which is Internal Revenue Service, needs a company to keep data for auditing. Okay, right? Needs a company to keep data for audit. So you want to keep the data, okay, for 7 years or 5 years. So they call it the lights on. Okay, just run the server. Just a server, nobody access it, but the data will be still there. Keep the lights on. That's called keep the lights on. So there's something called greenfield, brownfield, hybrid, technical hybrid implementation. Again, always Google this. Greenfield is we know what's called greenfield, right? In a football field, okay, when you walk in, when you just go in the morning, the match did not start yet. The field is really green. Okay, that's called the company has nothing there, no system, nothing. You are buying a new SAP instance and migrating all the data into SAP. That's called greenfield. Okay, brownfield means it's a little bit of mix of both greenfield. Brownfield means they have existing SAP. Okay, you are implementing another company code. Okay, for example. So again, this technical upgrade, hybrid, all this you should understand. Okay, Google it. They have more examples. And we talked about US GAAP and IFRS. This is important in terms of especially revenue recognition. Okay, because IFRS is more liberal. IFRS more liberal in IFRS is strict. How you recognize. Okay, offsetting accounts, right? So hard coded. What's called hard coded? Okay, hard coded means coded in the program to use to do something instead of configuration. So hard coded means coded to do something. Usually refer to something that is not easily changeable. Okay, version control for programs, ABAP programs, show version of the changes so that you can track who made the changes, and also compare with the other systems in the landscape. Okay, internal table, internal structure. Okay, there's more here. Whoa. Okay, let's do this. Internal table, internal structure, programs, ABAP programs usually have internal tables where they store data, where they store the data for further processing. Okay, if you go into any ABAP program for the processing, because when they extract the tables, right, when they extract the data from the table, like BSEC, BKPF, they get to store this table inside for the further calculation. So they create internal tables. Okay, and programs, screens. I think we saw this. It's called outage, planned outage, unplanned outage. All this is good to know. This system, this terms, it's all good to know. Planned and unplanned outage. Okay. Yeah, so that's called planned outage, unplanned outage. When the system sometimes goes down, or they take the system down for maintenance. Okay, usually. Okay, so then the system will not be available. Okay, that's called outage. They plan it, sometimes unplanned. Unplanned means all of a sudden something happens in the system, then the basis days have to recover. It's a technology, right? Anything can go wrong anytime. Timeout, what's called timeout? The program timed out, which just means the program was running. Every program has a set of as a time limit for how far it can run. So if the program reaches that time limit, even if the program did not do the did not accomplish the output. That's good. This is called program timed out. Straight line and declining balance depreciation, you should know. Relationship browser also from one document in SAP. You can use relationship browser, right? From one document SAP, you can use relationship browser to view the source document. Firefighting is again, why they call firefighting? When an incident happens, when an incident happens. When there's a fire, what people do? You don't do root cause, right? Can somebody sit and discuss, okay, let's find the root cause. Come. Call everybody, go to conference room. They don't do that, right? When the fire breaks out, the first responders are who? The firefighters, right? They go and they get put out the fire first. That's called firefighting. We don't care. They said we don't care the root cause. Just go and fix the issue now. Without worrying too much about the root cause. Okay, right? That'll be a separate team. Right, great. Nota Fisca, it's a Brazilian, it's good to know. It's a Brazilian, because when you work in a company, right, they have all North American, South American company codes, right? So you have a counterpart working in South America, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, those kind of countries. So you probably heard this Brazilian term used for submitting all the invoices to the government. Okay, because the government wants to know what the companies are spending for. Okay, because they're booking invoices, they're not correct, there are a lot of corruption and malpractices. They don't know what exactly going on. So Brazil said, because they use a lot of government funding, right? They said they want to know whether the companies are using the fund for the right purposes. And obviously, right, South America is, it's not about drugs and weapons and violences. They want to make sure the fund is not going for all this organization. Okay, that's why they said if you are submitting an invoice, they want to know whom you're submitting for. You're not buying weapons. You're not spending for recreation and stuff like that. Affiliated companies, in India they call it sister company, parent company, baby company, right? Sister-in-law company, mother-in-law company. There's nothing like that. Okay, don't ever use the word. Somebody says sister company. There's nothing like sister company, right? I don't know why they never said brother company. It's called affiliated companies. Okay, subsidiaries. Okay, favorable balance, unfavorable balances. You probably know this. GRR clearing, cost variance. Year to date, month to date, as of now, 31st March, all this we should know. But when you run a financial statement, these are the terms used. When you run any financial statements, okay. So so year to date, month to date. Year to date means from year to now, from January to now. Month to date means from May 1st to now. As of now, as of 31st March, which is basically a date from beginning of the year. Okay. ServiceNow, we call it ServiceNow, is a ticketing tool used very commonly in most of the companies. So it's good to know. Okay, it's good to know before you join a company. Okay, before you join a company, try to get some glimpse of some ticketing tool. Okay, why? Because it has its own flavors, gimmicks and ingredients, right? What you should do, what you should not understand. Sandbox client is usually a test SAP system. Is a test SAP system. Okay, where you can configure and test independent of your landscape. Usually, the transports will not be imported from this environment. Okay, you have to make changes. Send the development client to get it to get into production. So we're clear? Okay. In all these terms, you probably never heard about this, but now you heard about this. You can at least go and search more. Put more. What do you call this? Try to work on this. Okay. Try to ask me questions if you have. Reach out to me. Otherwise, these are pretty self-explanatory. 4S principle is 2 or 3 or more people watching or reviewing something that someone is doing, right? 4 eyes mean 2 people. 6 eyes mean 3 people. Okay. Why they do it? Because they just to prevent any mistakes, right? It's very important. And this is another thing, right? And typically Indians tend to think, okay, when they do this, they send an email. But the very important thing, they have to check back their work. Okay. Typically, that's not, even small companies practice these days. I was working in Singapore for many years ago. One of my friends' travel agency, just for a month. So we used to print tickets, right? When we print tickets, those days were paper-based tickets. When we print a ticket, it's we use abacus. I think abacus. So abacus is kind of a new term, right? There's a lot of airport codes, right? Promotional codes, this and that. There's a lot of the baggage and the child meal. A lot of things. Anything can go wrong, right? The customer will be unhappy. So whenever we print a ticket, or before we print a ticket, we usually show to 2 people minimum. We'll just wait. Okay, somebody will rush to me and said, brother, can you look at the ticket? Is it okay? Even though I don't know anything, I will at least look at it. Okay, so they're happy. Somebody's, I might catch something, right? I might catch something. It's always, even if you do it, don't make it really obvious. Try to make sure this is basically to check back your work. Okay. Remove waste. You probably know this. Remove waste is remove inefficiencies. Okay. Which delays processes. Red tapes, red tapes. Handovers, what is handovers. Let's say ship handover, right? Or do a AT for changing roles, right? Somebody's changing a new role. Somebody's working here for production support. They go into configuration, so he hands over the production support work to this guy, and then he leaves the project, whatever. So dashboard reporting, you probably know this. Ad hoc estimates reports. This all I added yesterday. Staging area, can reports. I was going to add this to a different one. Again, let me add this here. This I just added yesterday. So managed services, typically you'll hear this word very often. Managed services typically is a term used by offshore companies. Managed is typically a term used by offshore companies where they take project support, where they provide maintenance, right? Project support, implementation, support, maintenance to the clients in US especially. Okay, Cognizant said we have a managed services contract with whatever the company, CSM Bailey. Tech Mahindra, TCS would say, oh, we have a managed services contract with whatever company, right? So IBM has a managed services contract with Arkema, something like that. So discovery session. This can happen after or before implementing a change or task. This is interesting, discovery session. So basically we all go and talk and said, meet with a new team, right guys? Meet with a new team to understand or discover. This is called discovery session. How things work, right? For example, all of a sudden somebody is saying, okay, we need to implement this in warehouse management. I don't know how this, you guys don't understand, I don't know how things work. So I want to understand much better about their functionality. So I usually have a discovery session. I go and ask them because warehouse management is not my area, right? So I go talk to them and understand what exactly is happening, what is the impact, and how can we help, right? This kind of workflow, it's a sequence of events. It's a sequence of events. It's a sequence of events where it follows a guideline approved for review and approval. So like purchase order process, okay? Purchase order process, okay? You can Google it, workflow. Somebody creates a purchase order, it goes to for approval, for review. Okay, once it's approved, reviewed, then comes back to the creator, and the creator will shoot an email to the vendor, and then vendor clicks yes, and he has seen it, right? All this workflow. Ad hoc estimates means means not planned. Ad hoc, call it ad hoc. Okay. For example, the guys always complain. No Vijay, I was doing this, some ad hoc works are coming. Ad hoc work means not planned. Okay, ad hoc work. Ad hoc estimates, ad hoc report means it's not planned yet. Ad hoc means you are working in a project, you have something to do, and all of a sudden somebody, your manager say, hey, can you do this? That's called ad hoc, right? That's called not planned. Okay, guys, with this, I have something for others. For now, let's just, these are the things which I wanted to cover. I think we did a good job. Any questions so far?
Let's go through it, and if anything, we'll reach you.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for joining again, and then hopefully it's very useful, and I will have the recording and send it to you. Then the key is, don't think this is okay. You have to focus on this. You really have to go and search it.
Oh,
You have to search in each of those terms and try to come up with a meaning. Okay, which I think with some people it's lacking here. I told them many times. This is not just something okay or really we'll see. No, okay. These are my work. These are my like many years of my experience. I'm teaching you. Right.
thank you.
This is exactly what you will hear. What you will do. A lot of things. All your configuration. Pretty easy. You go and sit in a meeting, nobody will ask you, tell me the bank APP configuration, okay? How you talk is very important. How you look like a professional, how you look like a consultant from day one. This is it, okay?
True. Yes, very useful, Jay. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to send the recording and go from there, okay? Thank you guys for joining again. And again, sorry for short notice, and have a good rest of the day, rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
See you sometime soon.
You too.